Hello everyone, Vickieverlie here, the Rock and Roll Prophetess. Today we're going to take a look at the upcoming full moon happening on July 3rd in the sign of Capricorn. If you're in America, it's on 4th of July weekend, so it should be a banger. Ha ha ha. This is going to be a psychic and intuitive reading. I definitely get downloads and messages from my guides during the process of doing the chart read. Based in astrology, but definitely coloring outside the lines quite a bit. So let's take a look at it. So here's this the full moon here, and it is happening at 11 degrees and 19 minutes of Capricorn. So it's going to make us aware of perhaps some Capricornian things, you know, career, big business, what we're striving for, our status in the world, patriarchal kinds of things, something like that could totally come to light. It's making a square. What catches me right away, it's sextiling Saturn, but it's squaring with this Chiron here. And it really feels like some things where we were, as a society or in our personal lives, expressing the negative sides of the Capricorn energy, how it's really hurting us, hurting ourselves within our own soul and then within our own soul growth. And so some of those things can be like cold, indifferent, you know, only thinking about career. These are just the negative. There's plenty of positives, and believe me, I'm not getting down on Capricorn because I'm a Capricorn native myself. But every sign, every planet, everything has a positive and negative expression, and you have to look at the shadow sides, because then you can be aware of how things are affecting you. So how has our striving in the world perhaps slowed down or blocked, or what the word interrupted is coming through, interrupted our self-healing? Because with Chiron and Aries, it's all about self-healing, you know. It's about I feel like it could be about accountability too. That's a big thing that I see. There's a lot of blaming and a lot of, you know, bashing and finger pointing going on. And one of the deeper meanings or a way that we could use this Chiron and Aries energy is to be accountable to ourselves and be accountable for our actions and fess up and own up to, you know, our part in it, whether it's our interaction with the other person or whether it's with our own, because Aries is the individual, our interaction with our own everything, you know, how we block ourselves, because ultimately Chiron is where we wound ourselves over and over again, not only in this incarnation but in past lives as well. So there is this, but it's like, look yourself in the mirror. Stop with the excuses, stop with the blaming, and even if it's just blaming, you know, it could just be anything. Being accountable, taking accountability into action for our own success or their lack of. It's not so much out there in the other world. Yeah, there's things in the outer world, sure. The patriarchy, sure, that's all a thing. But, you know, it's more, to me, it's more about, okay, well, you know, who did I hear recently? I think it was Matthew McConaughey. He said, the world's not fair. He said, you say it's not fair? Yeah, no crap, no shit, it's not fair, you know. You know, the world is not fair. So it comes back to you, and it comes back to your own accountability, and it comes back to taking control and taking the reins to use this. Things might become really apparent with the square. That sharp turning of the corner, sometimes it could come off sharp, or it could cut, you know, it could feel abrupt, or it could feel hurtful, or it could feel harsh, you know. But ultimately, it's to get you to, you know, stir yourself. Well, maybe it is to stir yourself, stir something within yourself, but I was trying to say steer yourself into this other direction, right? The full moon is also trining the Jupiter, and a little bit to know, but really for sure trining this Jupiter. So that is some positive energy. There could be, if there has been some financial dilemmas that you're dealing with, you know, with the Jupiter in Taurus, which is very much a financial arena, and Capricorn is the success, there could be an opening. There could be an opening or a solution, or, you know, and something, because Saturn's involved too. Everything that's going on right now, I've heard a lot of negativity about the Jupiter-Saturn thing here, the Jupiter-Saturn sextile here. You know, everything that's going on with it, they're working in harmony together. So the two together, especially because also taking into account that Jupiter's in the sign of Taurus, which likes to plant that foundation for long term. Saturn wants to plant that foundation for long term. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, therefore the ruler of this full moon up here. So that wants to plant these foundations and have our, you know, our mountain, make our mark in the world, you know, our monuments, you know, things like this. So the things that are developing now, or starting, or the foundations that are being laid, even though the full moon is the full moon, it's not really, it's not about the new beginning, but it's shining a light on more ways that these planets can all work together, and how we can start these long-term, I'm hearing long-term investments, but yeah, it could be like that, you know, your typical long-term investments, like, you know, from an accountant or something like that. But it also could be long-term investment in yourself, in your life path, in your, whatever you're trying to achieve in this life, you know, basically. The other thing is here, now look, we have the, it's opposing the Sun, of course, but it's also opposing Mercury down here. And Mercury's making a nice trine over here to Saturn, and Mercury is involved too in all this stuff. So news, communication, in the sign of Cancer. News about, I want to say, and Taurus to some extent too, Taurus and Cancer, you know, the things that are going to be successful are the things that are going to help people, or maybe feed people, or and nurture people, or doing something that, you know, maybe there's some hot tip or some big financial thing you can get in on the ground, but if you're going to be miserable for the next however many years, you know, these are long-term cycles, and the Pluto's initiating these long-term cycles, and the nodes changing sign are initiating these long-term cycles. So there's a lot of long-term cycles being initiated at this time, okay? But are they nurturing, at least to you, if nothing else? Do you come home with your Mercury mind reeling about, oh, I hate my job, and they said this to me, and oh shit, I got to do this tomorrow, and it's just this ongoing, soul-sucking, aggravating thing? Or is it, you know, oh, I have, it's, or do you flourish? Because the Cancer energy is the mother energy. It's the Empress in the tarot. You know, it's the flourishing. Are you flourishing? She was right there. She was right there for me to grab. I have my little side deck there. Are you in that Empress energy? The Sun is in Cancer now too, and I think there's going to be a new. This is going to be that. This is the antithesis of the new moon, which will be on later this month. I don't have it in front of me. There will be a new moon in Cancer. Or there was, I'm not sure. But we're in this Cancer soup. That's just the point. I don't have all my astrology charts in front of me with just this. We're in the Cancer soup, okay? The other side there's always another side to the coin. Every opposition in these planetary things always has another side, right? You know, there's the Pisces. Every node, there's an axis. The nodes are in Taurus and Scorpio. They complement each other. They're different from each other. So the other side of just striving. If you're not familiar with astrology, this would be like when, you know, the woman's place was in the home, and then the man was out there, or the breadwinner. And very often when that was strictly the paradigm that we were operating in, yeah, men had all the power to some extent, but well, the hand that rocks the cradle just came through from the guides. Yeah, I was getting around to that. But you know, many men were unfulfilled and died of heart attacks because their heart was not nurtured. They died at young ages of heart attacks because the heart energy wasn't there. You know, they didn't have a part in that. They were under pressure. They had to go to war, and they had to go make money, and they had to, and you know, yeah, they all pretty much, you know, marched right along and bought into that paradigm. But many of them, you know, feel, you know, that they were missing out, but they dare not show it. You know, that might be a sign of weakness or something. So we've got to find this balance through these, you know, these big paradigm shift things, and it's becoming more and more, you know, in our society, and in many ways, you know. And that's the Iranian energy of, you know, you're just free to be who you really want to be and who you were really meant to be, and not getting so caught up in these roles of whatever that might be. It doesn't have to have anything to do with gender at all. You know, maybe you come from a family of whatever. You know, everybody in your family was a doctor, so then you're forced into being, not forced into, but you're corralled in, or you're kind of that whole thing. You know, you're expected to be a doctor too, and maybe you really want to be a chef or a cook or something, you know, or a home. You know, maybe you want to take care for children and be that nurturer. Maybe you're very nurturing with your patients. You could transfer it that way. So there's all these different ways that, you know, but becoming aware of it is the first step. You know, maybe it's not too late to change, or maybe it's not too late to incorporate a little bit of this, like the example I just had with the doctors, you know. Yeah, you would think that most doctors are nurturing and caring, but I mean, I've encountered many that aren't, you know. Because it's such a high-paying thing, they just want the money. They're not really devoted to their... And I'm not, you know, my daughter just became a doctor, actually. I'm not... I guess that's what it's kind of on my mind. And then she's definitely not one of them, you know. I was getting around to... Yeah, but that's a good example. You know, there's these high... Or even, you know, lawyers might be a better example, you know, because a lot of lawyers can be really notoriously shady. But in reality, they're supposed to be helping these people. So, you know, maybe you're just like, well, I'm in this job and I hate it, and it was expected of me to go in this direction, but really I want to be a nurturer. So maybe you can bring this nurturing quality. Maybe you'll just say, screw it, I'm changing. I'm going to just change my whole life around. But maybe you'll say, well, I'm already on this path. How can I bring this energy of wanting to be the nurturer, wanting to be a healer, of wanting to feed people or whatever? You know, maybe you could organize a food drive at your work, or some, you know, maybe you can blend this all together. And maybe it's, in a lot of cases, maybe it's something that's never been blended before. It's a new recipe. It's a new recipe of life that you are initiating. And maybe it'll even catch on, who knows? But not because, oh, I'm going to be the next trending topic, and, you know, because I'm going to do something that's going to catch on. You know, it's more about going into that soul energy and really feeling it and really finding that. And the full moon, even in the sign of Capricorn, does bring up the emotions, you know, you can bare your soul. It does make you aware. It breaks that hard exterior shell. And the full moon, because Cancer is the ruler of the moon, is Cancer. Anytime, you know, Saturn rules Capricorn, you know, all that stuff. Do I have all that? Yeah, see, the ruler of moon, they're together. So the fact that it's opposing it and the sun's here, it's even more, gives that extra little flavor and that extra little pull towards this Cancerian energy, even though the full moon technically is in Capricorn. This is starting to separate the Jupiter North Node. That was showing all of us a lot about where we should be and everything like that. The Venus-Mars conjunction is still happening. It's still on. What are we passionate about? What fills us with delight? That's what the guides say. What fills our soul with delight, fills us with delight, and makes us want to dance a jig. That's from the guides. So what does make you want to dance a jig, everybody? You have to let me know in the comments. But anyways, yeah, so love, passion, romance for sure. You know, people are in the mood for, I'm in the mood for love, simply because you're near me. Funny, but when you're near me, I'm in the mood for love. If you never see my videos, the guides start coming through with songs, and they just do that. But many times, you know, it's kind of funny and stuff, but fun and funny, like Leo energy and Venus and Mars in Leo. But also, it's just sometimes there's a message in the lyrics. Many times there's messages in the lyrics. So, you know, you might be in the mood for love just because somebody's near you. You might feel their aura, you know. When I was singing that, it's like one of those things where you can feel you're in a crowd and you can kind of feel somebody's energy, and then you look over and it's just like there's this, you know, it could be one of those things, our eyes met from across the room. You know, if that's what you're looking for. Because here's another thing, look at this Venus-Mars conjunction, it's squaring over here with this Uranus, so unexpected kind of things could pop up. Like that. even if you're saying, oh, that's so silly, I don't buy into that silly romantic stuff or whatever, something could just come along like that. Yeah, the Neptune is just about, it's very much at the end. Neptune is winding down. The Pluto in Capricorn is winding down. All these things, the Pluto being back in Capricorn at the time of this Capricorn full moon, too. This will be the last one for, well, I shouldn't talk because there may be one next year, but one of the last ones. So it's, even though it's not conjunct, it's working with that power of Pluto for this big transformation. And then Pluto being, the ruler of Scorpio. And the nodes are about to change sign out of Scorpio and Taurus here. In the month of July, it's like a couple weeks later after this. This is winding down this other big cycle. So we are at these big turning points. We are at these forks in the road. We are at these ultimate moments of realizations. That's what the guides are coming through with it. Ultimate moments of realization. Ultimate moments of realization that is shattering the illusion, is what they're saying. So I'm getting that off the Neptune and the Pluto. It's shattering these illusions of what we thought life was, what we thought our own life was, what we thought we were going to be, and, the direction that we're going in our individual lives, and then also in our as a collective. Because the nodes, well, a lot of this stuff is the collective. Neptune for sure is the collective. Uranus is the collective. I would say, really all the outer planets, so we got Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus, and Saturn to some extent too, is, it's the collective. And the nodes for sure, it's steering our course with destiny. It's steering our course with destiny. And I'm going to do a whole nother video about the nodes changing into Aries, and I'm sure we'll be talking about it more in these readings too, but it's going to be coming back to this accountability thing in its best form. It could come back, the Aries energy, the downside of Aries is very bossy, very selfish, very impatient, there's some negative qualities, childish sometimes, but they can also be childlike and wondrous, and they're filled with excitement, and it can be, bringing it back to this accountability, especially, I'm not sure when that's going to be, it's a little ways off, but when that node joins with Chiron, that's going to be a big moment of, they're saying a big moment of reckoning. That's a little biblical sounding. I don't know about that one. But, a moment of awareness. Ow, that was my neck popping. A moment of awareness. A moment of seeing our part that we played in it and acknowledging it. One and all, they're saying. One and all. Because we all had a part to play. We all had a part to play in it. We all had... It's nothing is all one-sided. There's no good guys and no bad guys. You and me, and we just disagree. They pull that one out of the... But it is a great line, and it is a great truth in that. It's just you and me, and we just disagree. But back to what I'm trying to get to with this Aries energy and it being the self, it's not even disagreeing with anybody necessarily. It's all about, again, looking yourself in the mirror. Yeah, I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. If you want to make the world a better place, then whatever Michael Jackson said. But yeah. Anyways, that's what it's all. That's a lot of where this shifting, the node shifting, and this particular moon here, it could kind of zap us out of what we thought was important as far as what we're striving for in this life, or because the negative side of the Capricorn energy too can be a little bit of that keeping up with the Joneses kind of thing, So if we're not keeping up with the Joneses, we're just keeping up with ourselves and our own personal best, and things like that. All right, well, I think that might be it for right now. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you're watching this in the very last week of June and you want to get in a transit reading of the solstice reading, will be available just in the very last week of June. But it's probably only going to be like a few days after this video posts. But as far as astrology readings, if you like this kind of reading better, when I do it from the chart, I do have the soul reading, which is interesting. It's a look at your past life and your karma. If you're kind of like, well, I'm not really sure what, you know, I might be able to tune in and help you out on that one with the soul reading. It's more about your past lives and what you're striving for in this incarnation. And then secondly, I always do have, you know, the tarot readings available. It's a psychic tarot reading, and I do a little astrology with that. I just look at your planets in the ephemeris just to get a quick grab of your energy, a quick grab of your planetary placements, and then it's mostly psychic tarot then. So you can check out my chart, yeah, you can check out my chart if you want, but you could check out my my website, and the link is below. I also have, if you're into adult coloring books, I have my new adult coloring book, and of course I don't have it in the room, do I? Oh darn it, I forgot to bring it in here, but it's Fantastic Beasts and not Fantastic Beasts. It's Intricate Designs and Fantastical, not Fantastic Beasts. I wanted to call it Fantastic Beasts, but then I remember that. I go, I've heard that before, and I looked it up, and of course it's a Harry Potter or some of those kind of movies, and I'm just like, oh shoot, that's not it. I can't use that one. So yeah, I'm not able to pull the link up right at this minute. But anyhow, if you're into adult coloring, I wanted to show some of the pages. But you know, I think maybe actually I can show you some of the pages if you care to see them. If not, you can tune out here. But let me see. I actually do have. This is the one I'm working on now. Oh boy. Well, I don't know that I can show you any of the pages. Maybe here's some. Yeah, these are some of the coloring images. There's some, like a mushroom one, and there's this is a partially colored one for the cover of this kind of plant Devic realm spirit guide. So that's one of the fantastical beasts. Okay, here's another fantastical beast. It's sort of a dragon, or with baby dragon wings or something. And there's there's another fantastical beast. So there's, you know, a bunch of these kinds of things, and then there's also just, you know, this is sort of a face thing. There's just some that are just weird designs and stuff like that. So if that's something that you like, or you think you might like, or that you know somebody else who does like that stuff, check it out. It's available on Amazon. You can find the link below in the description. Here's our full moon chart, right? Yeah. Yeah, so full moon in Capricorn, what do we value? Is it serving us? Be aware. Be very aware. That's what the guide said. Okay, everybody. VickieVerlie signing out. Thanks for tuning in. Remember, you are love and beauty incarnate. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.